So we are going to cover the regulation of carbohydrate metabolism. Before this, it would be really nice for you to know two states which our body understands. One is well fed, which is equal to save for later, and fasting, just use saved resources. So you need to know that in well fed state, ATP is very high, okay, and in fasting state, CAMP is very high. In simple terms, when you have a lot of energy, there's going to be anabolic reactions taking place, which is going to help in storage of various forms of energy. For example, carbohydrate is stored in the form of glycogen, and maybe more of carbohydrates will be converted to fat and be which can be used for a very long time. And those two are the main storage forms of energy in our body. And the fasting state, the body will try to make new glucose through different processes like gluconeogenesis, glycogenolysis. All these terms may sound a bit confusing, but let's just go through the whole cycle. We're going to start from glucose. So glucose enters glycolysis. This is the glycolysis pathway. So this is the whole glycolysis pathway which is going to take place, and this will take place during the well-fed state. Okay, it's an anabolic reaction which is going to make ATP. So it will take place, and you are going to use this ATP and not to make better things for your body, like glycogen synthesis. That is also going to take place uh, in the well-fed state. But if you see in the fasting state, things are going to go in the opposite direction. So this is how it's going to take place in the liver. So gluconeogenesis takes place mainly in the liver because there are a lot of enzymes present in the liver capable of doing this process very efficiently. So gluconeogenesis is increase in glucose, and if you are before gluconeogenesis, you are going to use up your glycogen reserves, which are your first source of glucose. Then you are going to go to gluconeogenesis. When you go into something like gluconeogenesis, you are going to have your energy source which are going to be depleted. So you're going to depend on other sources of energies like fat and amino acids, and glucogenic amino acids are going to enter gluconeogenesis cycle and make more glucose. When as soon as glucose is over, your body is going to switch over to ketone bodies. Ketone bodies are another form of uh, fuel which are obtained from fat. They are not very efficient, but they provide energy. So when you're depleted on glucose, you go to a state of ketosis, which is not healthy, but you should know about this. So in simple terms, I would like to say in terms of two things: glucose increase and glucose decrease. So when you are in the well-fed state, there's going to be a decrease in glucose, and in the fasting state, there's going to be increase in glucose. And I'm talking about glucose present in blood. Okay. So the hormones which are going to help you reduce blood glucose are insulin. Insulin works on GLUT4 receptors, which help the cells to take up and use this glucose present in the blood. So there's reduced in blood glucose. Okay, that's it. You don't have to complicate stuff. uh, Glucagon is going to signal the hormones responsible for dephosphorylating or for phosphorylating various key enzymes which are responsible for gluconeogenesis and glycogenolysis. So glucagon increases blood glucose. How glucagon and insulin work are by phosphorylation and dephosphorylation. Alright, now insulin is secreted in the pancreas by beta cells, and it is done with the help of GLUT2 receptors are present in the pancreas. So they take in a lot of blood glucose, and that's going to cause a cascade of enzymes to activate. Calcium is going to come in and pump out insulin. That's very just of how insulin is going to be secreted. So I thought this would be enough for regulation. If they try to ask anything, go by the simple rule that if the body is fasting, it needs glucose. So it's going to make sure it gets glucose from some source. Okay, if it has lots of glucose, it's going to invest this glucose and make other products like fats, cholesterol, or proteins, or anything. It's going to use it, or nucleotide synthesis, or anything useful like that. It's going to do better stuff when it has extra glucose. Okay, this is how you deal with regulation of glucose on the whole. I have not explained each and every enzyme and in detail and all, but this is what happens. So one more quick tip is if there is increased level of all uh, substrates below, it's going to go and decrease the further usage of glucose, which is going to reduce wastage of glucose. So for example, you take citrate over here. See, you see this arrow, it's going right up to phosphofructokinase, and it's going to inhibit the action of phosphofructokinase, thereby putting a pause on glycolysis. Okay, so there are some self-regulatory things like this which are going to be very crucial for preventing wastage of glucose. And a lot of these mechanisms can be seen generally all throughout the body. I've just touched upon them. We'll see them in detail, and this will be like a wrap up for carbohydrates. There are many more important topics which I've just skipped, but I'm focusing on last minute studies which you're going to like run through a whole of biochemistry in like maybe an hour or 1.5 hours. So sorry, I'll try to cover as many topics as possible. All right.